Sam.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Just thank you so much for giving Sam a platform here. It's the folks I was in the last group with, it's incredibly timely for me personally. And then we were just noting, the uncertainty in the world right now and the importance of just supporting people right now to help them get through all this and really move forward.
Thank you, Susie. Great to see you. Thanks for coming back.
You too. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, so I'll just go. This is Ishita. I'm based in East London. Anyone here interested in poetry or London, or just being, having access to different cultures? This is me.
Great.
Hi, guys.
People are waving. People are waving. Ishita.
Hi.
So
yeah.
Make sure your contact details are in the chat again, won't you?
Yes. And as Sam said, and Susie and I were in a breakup room, and it was wonderful conversation there. I was just saying, through the last 3 years or 2.5 years, we've gone through 5 stages of grief as a community, shock, anger, and we were trying to gauge where we are now as a creative community. I think we are kind of halfway there in acceptance, so it's good. It's it can only get better. So that's all from me.
Great, thanks, Ashita. Is anyone here with us for the after party for whom this is their first event? Hands going up. Andrew, Leanna, of course, Laura. I'd love to have some feedback. What did you feel? It was a good use of an hour?
Sorry, did I cross over somebody else? My name is Raj. Thank you. This was a brilliant event. This is my first, and I can promise you, Sam hasn't paid me for this, but I've got I've got this behind me. So that is brilliant, Sam. Thank you so much. It is really good to hear you speak. I run a company called as Globe from Home. We are an edtech company that offers a live streamed world travel based sessions. So basically the idea being that we complement classroom based education with trips to different parts of the world where users can ask questions. It's what you said about an interactive, it's almost like an interactive documentary where you go around and complement what you're learning in the classroom with visits to different parts of the world and meet other cultures and understand global problems like climate change, for example. So this was very timely, and I had some brilliant conversations in the breakout.
Great, Raj. Thank you very much. Where are you based, Raj?
I'm based in London.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other hands up as first timers?
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Ewan from Birmingham. Can you hear me?
Hi, Ewan. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, I thought that was just a very good format, and it does demonstrate that if you just bounce enough people into contact with different people, you will find something in common. I thought that was interesting. I would just like to ask Sam if I don't know if he's still around. I can always email him, I guess, or contact him. But how do we get politicians to embrace uncertainty and thereby change? Because that seems to be the missing bit of the jigsaw. I mean, I love uncertainty. I like change, but you do get bounced back time and time again. And my role is to a retired GP asked to promote physical activity in Birmingham, and it is very difficult because they are wedded to the car, and it is the biggest barrier. Now everybody thinks they should be buying a Tesla. It's really challenging.
Do you want to come back to it, Ewan?
Yeah. Hello again, Ewan. I think it is really extremely difficult, and it's not just politicians. I think senior leaders across businesses, bar none. And we know that we live in a world where the majority of leaders of the majority of businesses and governments are predominantly white males, certainly in the UK looking out. And it's seen, there's a really recent survey out, piece of research out, that the companies that are pushing people back to in the office workplaces are all led by men. There is something inherent, like this need for a false sense of security and certainty, which actually doesn't add up. So it's a very challenging aspect of all of this work, and I think sometimes it can be overcome. I did receive a request from the shadow cabinet saying that they believe also that this is a time of great uncertainty. It's going to be the defining feature of our age, and then was massively disappointed when they kind of came out and turned against some of the climate protests that were going on. You know, it's a complex and muddy world when it comes to uncertainty tolerance, but the change that does take place neurologically when we see it is because people are continuously increased to uncertainty. And one strategy that seems to work again and again on senior leaders who are very, very, you know, short on time and expected to take huge leaps is, again, this exposure dynamic. And you know, it seems a bit classic because we hope to rely on surveys and logic, but often it's exposure. And this would be no surprise to you, it's often about story. And I've heard this said in some of the climate circles I work with, the most influential people and some of the most senior leaders we've got who are expected to make the most uncertain decisions in climate are their children around the Sunday table. So then we should never give up on these things. Some of the classic approaches are going to be difficult, but exposing senior leaders to stories that will lead them to uncertainty can work.
Great. Thank you very much, Sam. I'm just going to come to a few people, if I may. I wanted to say a big hello to Cynthia Pecking. Hi, Cynthia. She is our
Hi,
latest.
Mark. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, and Cynthia is our latest subscribing founder member. Thank you very much. You may have met her in one of the emails I sent out, which was great. But Bridget, can I come to you? I think you've got a digital hand up.
I have, yes. I just wanted to share an idea, which is a principle of our organisation. We're Climate Museum UK, and we are a distributed museum, and we share 6 principles. And one of these is called being positopian. And it is a principle that helps us engage with uncertainty. It's about developing methods to enable people to imagine the widest possible cone of the future, so that it enables people to have some agency in their imagination of the future, while also facing uncertainties and, in particular, you know, the worst scenarios that are facing us with the Earth crisis. So you might want to search Positopia and see more about that, but I'm just kind of offering it there as a
That's great.
as an idea.
That cone reminds me of the Shoshan, the Buddhist concept that we were taught in one of our previous talks about the approaching a subject with the mind of a child gives you many more options than it does if you're an expert or perceived expert in that subject. I'd like to just welcome Nick back. Hi, Nick. Nick, when Nick joined us for one of our meetings, he did it on a mobile phone at the Yorkshire Sculpture Park in front of a Henry Moore, and I've loved him ever since. So Nick's on a bit of a mission to get £1 million to get 1 million kids being more creative. And I put him in front, and he's already connected with Maggie Philbin, one of my childhood TV favourites, and they may well be coming back in July doing a talk together, which would be fantastic. Nick, do you want to say hello just quickly?
I'll jump up on the main stage. Yeah, it's funny, it's lovely to hear from Sam again today. If I didn't have enough uncertainty in my life, I've just added a load more, because I've just been asked if I would curate a whole strand within a big festival in Buckingham on the 17th to 19th of June. So if anybody wants to be part of that, if Sam fancies a weekend camping and talking, and it's a craft beer festival with slow food and hipster vibes, but they're not too ageist about it. We're going to be looking for speakers, performers, workshops. If you fancy coming, Mark, and telling me about your great work, then do get in touch. It's going to be an amazing weekend in June, bringing like minds together under canvas. Fancy that, Mark?
That sounds like great fun. Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Where are we? Tamzin, hi. Oh, and hi, Nadia. I'll come to you in a minute. Hi, Tamzin. How are you doing?
Oh, hi, Mark. Yeah, very good. Thanks. I really enjoyed today. I am familiar with the uncertainty experts. I went to the interactive documentary. I'm not sure when it was it Christmas time-ish, 21? And it was really interesting. I had just personally tentatively started my own business, so very uncertain, working with musicians who at the time, I can't even remember if they'd started performing live again. So I'm mentoring and coaching musicians. And I think Sam's ideas are really, really valuable for how do you sustain a career like that, you know, over decades and decades it's uncertain even in more certain times. So I'm really delighted to hear more. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you very much, Tamsin. Nadia, lovely to see you again. How are you doing?
Yes, lovely to see you all again. And again, a great talk. And I wanted to say to Sam, you know, with all your research that you've done, it's really curious because it's almost like a synchronicity with regards to you raising these topics, uncertainty, but also bringing science to also prove how the world, the environment is impacting humans. I wondered if, you know, rather than also humans just sitting back and saying, yes, we've got to embrace the change, should we also look to using art and culture to address the root causes for why the levels of uncertainty and chaos are happening in the world? You know, I think personally, I don't know, and I've read some articles that technology and where the velocity of the way technology is impacting humans is also part of the problem. Is that something that neuroscience and art and culture can come together to address some of the harmful impacts that this is having on humans? Because where technology was once a convenience for humans, it's transitioned into technology controlling the environments, how we are ending up psychologically. And I feel that some of this is harmful, and we can't just keep saying we as a human need to be looking to embrace it, because as an intellectuals and as some of us all in our different fields, fine, but there's a huge percentage of humans that aren't as well informed as we are, or aren't going to be in touch with some of the educational areas that we are exposed to being part of this membership, this great group. I don't know. I feel that I'd love for you, Sam, to address a component that says, let's go back to root causes and do something to stop this accelerated, chaotic world that it's becoming. I don't know. Question to Sam, or for you to take away.
Thank you, Nadia. Sam?
I really deeply empathize with that, and I think there is some truth in a lot of aspects that we've devolved certain amounts of our creative problem finding. You know, the human brain is pretty complex, right? But it is also pretty basic. It does love novelty and curiosity, but that has to be fed, and it expands its networks to become more curious and able. And the creativity is one aspect of exercising our brain to do that. We know it fundamentally. There are certain things that do stimulate neuroplasticity, and the less we do them, the more able we are to cope with the huge problems and the cognitive dissonance that it causes. The neuroscience specialist that I work with, Catherine Templar-Lewis, has introduced me to the importance of interdisciplinary work. Most of her own projects span goldsmiths, some of the best, creatives out there, in Marshmallow Laser Feast are the current artists that she's working with, utilizing dance, but also aspects of nature, because it's also shown that there's nothing that's more powerful than our nature relatedness, measured as NR, that reconnects us and improves sustainable behavior. So I think there's this real fulcrum. Oh, actually, and there's one other really great study that came back using brain scans. Yale University proved that uncertainty pushes the human brain to this profound state of optimized learning. It's a bit like F. Scott Fitzgerald said, there's no greater intelligence than a mind being able to cope with two conflicting ideas at once. And it's like we've just caught up with it. But the other state that does push the brain into similar states is psychedelics, naturally occurring ones. So there is this space of overlap that we don't fully understand between creativity, the natural world, and our minds, and how they can work together to positively stimulate each other. And yes, I'm very interested in embracing increasing my ability, the interdisciplinary nature, because certainly my brief experience of science is that it doesn't look beyond science. And I think that seems like a very necessary avenue for us to collaborate further on, because I don't think these are going to necessarily be new solutions, but about rediscovering aspects of ourselves.
Thank you very much, Sam. And thank you very much, Nadia. Do please pop your hand up if you'd like to say hello to everyone. Oh, Julie, I'm coming. Hi, Julie, how are you doing?
Hi. Just to say, it's really interesting what Sam has said about neuroplasticity, because that is actually for children that have been adopted or children that are in the care system, the trauma that they've experienced. That's where a lot of the research and work is done in terms of the healing process, in terms of how you kind of move forward from trauma. So that's actually something really, really interesting. I just thought I would mention. Also because I'm a doctor, so I did a course on neuroplasticity for children that have experienced early life trauma. And just also say, quick little plug. So I'm part of the Augmented Society Network. We're a thematic part of the FRSA. And we have just launched a new project called Creativity Offers Us a New Formula for Life. And with that project, I've already put the link in it. We're looking at things about how creativity drives innovation, science, and manufacturing, and how all these kind of things kind of come together. So that's something that we've launched. The RSA, the thematic bits is actually based out in Vegas, but I'm in the UK, so yeah, it's launched in Vegas, and we look at those kind of diverse expressions of creativity. And the idea, I was talking to some of the groups about creativity, like Sam was saying, people actually can be quite scared of creativity because you're out of the comfort zone. The project that we're doing, it looks at how we can encourage people to recognize that they are creative, and their creative experiences and understanding is as important as somebody that's an established artist, etc., etc., etc. So that's our project that we've launched, and we're looking for lots of people to participate and engage. The link is in the it's in the chat. So if anybody's interested, we meet once a month, normally on a Thursday, 7 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. depending on where you are in the US, and 3 p.m. I think it's in some part of Colombia where somebody else meets. But the time zone varies, but we meet online. So if anybody wants to join us, you're more than welcome.
Really, thank you very much. That's great. Do please, I don't know if you're a member of the of our LinkedIn group, but we have over 13,000 members in the Arts and Culture Network LinkedIn group. So do please post it there, and where we'll all see it. That would be great. I can see Duska has her hand up. Hello, Duska.
Hi. I am as a retired academic. I can see that we need to perhaps rebalance the emphasis in education on discipline versus creativity, curiosity, handling of uncertainty. And recently I've noticed that we've had, with all this kind of managerialism that we call it, that you rely very much on the results of the exams and qualifications, and which are actually the opposite of being able to be creative and embrace uncertainty. So maybe we should go back to education and to see what we can do to promote, or to, as I said, rebalance the discipline. You need to have the discipline, but you also need to maintain the childlike curiosity in our students, not to lose them by the time they get to A levels.
I think that's great. We should teach adults how to be children, not children how to be adults.
I think there is a lot to be said for that. Yes.
I often taught, with apologies to anyone who's working again in the education sector, I often used to tell my young children, please don't let school get in the way of your education.
Yeah.
That made me unpopular at parents' evenings, as you can imagine. Thank you very much.
I can, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Duska. I just wanted to give Brian a shout out, if you don't mind, because his background is for my benefit. When I heard that Brian had hosted the rehearsals for Kylie Minogue's World Tour, I got rather excited about seeing the pictures on his website. Brian, would you like to say hello? Brian is, I should explain, we've known each other for what seems like, actually it probably is 50 years. And we grew up together as children, and Brian is the director at the Backstage Centre, which in Purfleet, which we're calling Pinewood on Thames at the moment. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Mark. You're right. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. And to new members, great to see you. Yes, I did deliberately put the Kylie backdrop up for Mark's benefit, because I think I hadn't, on the last meeting, I think, Mark, I didn't have that up, and you commented you wanted to see Kylie again. So obviously wanted to celebrate the fact. I was more in shock of the fact that she's actually been performing for as long as she has. I don't know if anyone's aware, she and Jason are going back in for the final episode of Neighbours over in Australia, which is very exciting. So what I'm hoping we can persuade their management to book a Kylie and Jason reunion tour and rehearse it at our place. So actually today's quite funny, because we're doing nothing to do with entertainment today. Our venue gets booked out for the local election count every year. So we have literally gone from one extreme to another in these last few years. And election counts are quite amusing. I don't know if you've ever been to one, where you will see contrasting behaviours. You'll see an awful amount of uncertainty, and I would suggest that there is a plethora of negativity bias that sits within most of the candidates that are pitching themselves to represent the local people. What's also very exciting, I think, just to kind of go back to Kylie, is Kylie's actually connected me in a different way, which I never thought would happen. James Bradbury, who's also one of the advisory group members for the ACN, James and I met recently, and James for a few years he managed and ran the Madame Tussauds in London. And some of you may remember there was quite a controversy around Kylie's waxwork that was popped up, and a discussion about certain parts of her anatomy that would be featured as a kind of a major point of her success at that point in time. I said, well, obviously he had a discussion about that with her management then, and we were looking at her 50th birthday, which is a totally different journey. But either way, we wish Kylie well.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, for the benefit of those not in the UK, we've got local elections today. But it reminded me of the best time to speak to a politician is after the poll has closed, before the results are given, because they can't do anything to influence the result, and they don't know whether they've got a job or not. It's great. It's the most discomforting time for them. So great. I mean, would anyone else like to say hello? While you're thinking about what you might like to say hello about, I think I've spotted, I think, oh no, Fura, I think there was another artist. I think she's had to drop off, but did you get to meet Susanna?
No, I didn't know. I had a couple of amazing rooms, so really, really great contacts and good in conversation. I invited Matthew Chatfield for today. I think he's dashed off now, but yeah, so I was telling him about it, and so I'm glad he joined today. So you know, I'll get feedback from him later, but I'm sure he'll be back. But yeah.
That's fine, because you've done that so kindly. That means I'll have to pay for tea when we meet on the 10th. on that,
Just thought I'd slip that in there.
I think it's the 10th. Yeah, we're meeting
yes,
at the RSA, in fact. So if anyone else wants to come drop in, Claire, was that a hand? Yep, that's a hand. Thanks, Fura.
So yeah, this is my first time. So I am a fellow, and yeah, it's been amazing actually. So you're quite right. You know, just having a few minutes to realize that, you know, you could be doing something so far, you know, so different, but you do have things in common and how you can help. My gut instinct is always to try and, like, you know, sort of to help. That's just the way I am, and find solutions for people. So, you know, that's just how I go through life. So I'm excited in that kind of space. But my general solution for arts and culture was to develop a platform for exhibitions. So capturing live ones to share and creating imaginary gallery spaces during COVID to actually so people could actually have an exhibition. So that's what I spend most of my time doing. That's great.
Can I suggest you can track down Mary? Her name is Alice Shapiro. She's one of our founder subscribers. She runs the Mary LaForge Gallery, and I mentioned to her earlier, she does digital shows that are effectively reflections of world shows that she allows artists who might not have got onto that Biennale to have.
That's amazing. That's exactly.
It's like she's the artistic equivalent of the Edinburgh Fringe.
Brilliant. And that's really, it's about accessibility, archiving, audience, and for giving opportunity where it might not have, you know, been even on somebody's radar, because you can share. And we put all the exhibitions on our website as well, free public archive, so it gets a global audience. So yeah. So
do make sure that the details are in the chat, won't you, Claire?
Yeah, I'll just put in something there.
That would be.
But yes, great. Thank you for, and it's been really, really lovely. So I'll make the time. I've never made time for these things, and they're really important.
I think that I'm hoping these events will be a little bit like karaoke. You can't bear the thought of doing the first one, but once you've done one, you can't stop, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, so I think we've got this has been lovely. I love the after party bits. This is where the magic happens. If you have to go, please do slide away. Sam's had to go, but I hope you've enjoyed Sam's presentation. I saw a comment in the chat that it was one of our best, which is great. They've all been fantastic, fortunately, which is great. But yeah, 9th of June, we're doing it all again. Bring a friend, as they say. Leanna, you've got your hand up still.
Thanks, Mark. I think, yeah, it was several months ago when I was pretty new in this role that you reached out to me to suggest that we collaborate on an event. And it's just been a lot of fun today. I really like this roller coaster format, meeting lots of fellows, lots of non-fellows as well. So thanks very much for taking the initiative and making this happen with the Arts and Culture Network and the RSA.
Thank you very much for all that you've done on it. It's been great. I just get excited. I mean, one of our youngest members, Alex Clovis, was on our November event. Never done any networking before in his gap year. Wanted to be a tourism journalist, and bumped into Alice at lovetovisit.com, which is a new tourism startup platform. They exchanged details in the chat. They met the next day, and she hired him. And I thought that was fantastic. We've had other great stories of collaboration, which is really good. Brian and James working together, I don't think that would have happened if I hadn't sort of come up with this crazy idea. And of course, Alice's gallery has got people in it that she's met on these events. So, and we've had countless other reports of people connecting again and collaborating, which is great. I think one of our members, she's a copywriter, and I think she's already worked with 2 of our visitors already, which is great. So right, I'm going to let you go. It's it's nearly past, and have a wonderful rest of the day, afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. And I hope to see as many of you as possible again on the 9th of June at 1 p.m. Has anyone else want to say a quick hello, goodbye before we finish?
Can I just quickly say, I just wanted to give an update about the workshops that I'm going to be doing at the Old Royal Naval College, which was an introduction that came from my first ever meeting with you guys. So thank you very much for that. And that's going ahead. I've had 3 meetings already, and it's just such a fruitful and inspirational experience that we're going to be able to offer the blind community in Greenwich. So I cannot wait to do that. So thank you again for that introduction.
That's great to hear. I'll need to do it. We'll have to chat about that when we meet.
Yeah, I'll share everything for sure.
We'll do a little mini case study video. The other thing as well that I've started doing, which is great fun, is I'm doing the Arts and Culture Hot Top 10. So it's a little bit like Desert Island Discs, where I ask you for your favorite building, your favorite artist, your favorite dancer or group. So if anyone would like to record one of those for publication to the group of 13,000 on LinkedIn, do please let me know. It's great fun. I put you on the spot, but it is quite good fun. So excellent. Andrew, thank you. Claire, Catherine, Duska, Salome, hello. Julie, Susie, Cynthia, Manuel. Sorry, I think you joined us late, Manuel, but it's good to see you. I might have told you at the wrong time anyway. And Katie, thank you. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.